Behind Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. I'll be reading the text of a woman I now have a traditional link to. What I mean by that is it's not just digital. I've had 2 phone conversations with this woman, 3 if you count a dropped call. And I told her I thought it was entertaining. She, I don't know if it's a higher level analysis or lower level analysis, but she concluded I believed her story. And I said, well, let me be more specific. Your story is believable, and I find it entertaining. And I sense she would want me to read her fresh text. So I'm being very careful to keep any one-on-one traditional link phone call information that I might have with her. That would include email. And only include one-to-many that she might have. So I am very careful, and I probably won't be perfect, but I'm very careful to speak of only what I know about this Canadian woman. See right there, I might have misspoke. Canadian, I know that, but I don't know if it's public. I do know it's not secretive, but she might not have that on any of her profiles. So she's a bit of an enigma to me because her Twitter profile looks like she's, hiding behind an anonymous profile, yet her Google Plus page says who she is, and she is that person. So that's, I can't say I've investigated a lot of people to say that that's rare, but it's uncommon. Usually people are completely buttoned up, or they're open everywhere. I'm open everywhere. My Facebook page, my Twitter page, my Google Plus page, and so on. So before I read her text, the one observation I can make from her text, and not from any one-on-one information, one-to-one information I have with her, from her text is this. If you are younger than Lady Gaga, or you are older than Bill Gates, you will not understand this. However, if you are younger than Bill Gates and older than Lady Gaga, you will understand at least what the word DOS means. So this woman seems to think in terms of DOS. She's got the most confusing blog I visited. A blog is a relatively simple concept. You go, you click, and here's the freshest text. What do you find right below it? The second freshest text, and it continues in reverse chronological order. It's very simple. It is not simple for this woman. So that is why I'm not reading her freshest text, because I can't find it. She is younger than Bill Gates, older than Lady Gaga, or at least she thinks as though she is in that DOS era. The listeners, this is why I give this view of Kiko's Liquors, because I need a minute to find her text before I begin reading. I will say this conversation with her was quite fun. And when I said she was entertaining, I was sincere. Okay, I have the text in front of her. As I have been critical of myself and critical of other bloggers, not critical publicly, but critical in my thinking of other bloggers, when they editorialize other people's work, they insert their own comments. When I do that, I hate myself for it. And hate myself is a loaded term. There's It's very serious. It puts people in mental hospitals and suicides and drug rehabs and a lot of other things. So I'm sensationalizing that phrase, but there is truth to it. I wish I could contain myself. So the pledge I've made, and I've kept it on one occasion, is when I begin to read someone's text, I make it very clear that I'm beginning, and then I do not make my own comments until the end. I think all my comments on this one are finished, so I will have no comments at the end, but we'll see. So again, I am starting the text of this woman, and her Twitter ID is in the title of this post. So her post, again, second most recent, is Dynamic Donuts. I affectionately refer to them that way because in Ottawa, Ontario, amigo, say hi to. I'm recording. I gotta say no. You're not in this. You're not in this screen.
How are you?
Say hola. Say
Hola.
Viva Cuba. I affectionately refer to them that way because Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, that's where you can usually find a 50. Footage from the main Ottawa police station on the 15th of July, 2016, 8:30 a.m. EDT to 9 a.m. EDT is clear evidence of my annoyance of our public servants' inability to serve. I was so pissed. Now she puts the asterisk. She's afraid to use the word pissed. She does P with the asterisk, SSED. I was so pissed when I left, I went out through the indoor. Hey, wait a second. That kind of reminds me of Led Zeppelin, in through the outdoor. I digress. The only part of my last 212.4XX encounter is that it's mostly accurate, is my verbatim quote. How anyone that knows me knows that I would probably have said with an audience present and not with some audience. Also, I don't think I would have had that long a run-in sentence I've described. Whatever the gist of it is spot on. So it's merely semantics at this point. Being me, though, I can't help but laugh out loud at the inability of these donut a-holes to verbatim quote me. I know my training is not referred to as jujitsu, but rather jujitsu, the official name. I overlooked the spelling. Not referred to as jujitsu, but rather jujutsu, the official name. Well, I tire of this for now. Maybe tomorrow I will add the actual heartbreaking weeks that immediately follow my 2012 4XX encounter. Maybe. She only says maybe once. So maybe, the first maybe was the end of her text. End of her text. Again, this woman is a Canadian blogger. I was afraid that I was disclosing that she was Canadian, and she, whether she's Canadian or not, I don't know, she's a Canada resident of Ontario. And I was concerned that I had disclosed that, and I knew that from her a one-to-one, but indeed she does disclose it in this text. So I don't think I made any mistakes that I will torture myself for. I will say this, that a tiny difference that this woman and I have in blogging is I use WordPress, and WordPress, probably like a lot of sites, has this hour by hour click history report. So you not only know how many visitors you get to your website, in addition to that, you know what hour they came. So over the years of blogging, and I've had about a decade, not a decade with this handy little graphic feature, but a decade of blogging, part of it with that digital click history feature tells me that my readers are reading, many of them, probably most of them, most of them is overstated, but more than half of them probably, because I know what country they're from, and so I kind of think it's my country and it's maybe favoring my time zone. So these people are probably going to bed soon, before bedtime. And when I think of my own reading and TV watching habits, video watching habits, news reading, I realize that's when I pay attention to other people's stuff. So there's a certain time of the day when I create and I write and I script a video blog or whatever. And then there's others parts when I'm nearly brain dead, nearly asleep, and I'm taking in. Again, part attention. So just my observation of this woman's blog, she is writing to people as though they are as fresh and creative as she is. Because the bottom line is I can't find her freshest post. And this text tells me, I think she'll confirm this. I have a feeling I'm going to hear from her either by phone or text or something. I'm going to ping this to her, probably on Twitter. So she does this 2012-04. So this is April of 2012. This is four years ago and a couple months. And the date she puts XX. I don't know if she doesn't want to disclose that or she doesn't know. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's about 4 years ago. And I think in this freshest text, she wrote what she wants to write about that day. Here she's being sort of evasive, saying, I might do it in the future. But yet, because she's younger than Bill Gates and older than Lady Gaga, and she thinks in terms of DOS, I can't find her text. Anyways, this has been a truly funny event. I told this woman sincerely that I think she's entertaining. And I think some of how I was entertained by her has come through in this video. If it did, it's sincere. Is this Jamal? I'm gonna say, Jamal, I got a video blog here. Say hello to my audience, whoever that might be. Stand next to me right here, amigo. This is my amigo from the barrio, Jamal. Say hola.
Hola, hola, people.
Ciao, Jamal. Gracias. Jamal is one of the guys in the neighborhood that doesn't speak Spanish, or doesn't speak a lot of Spanish. We all speak a little bit of Spanish. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, a restful night's sleep. Ciao. The first guy that came by is Cuban. Of course, he speaks Spanish. And so I broke in the middle of this woman's text. I don't consider that a violation of my own rule because it was an interruption. It's why I do this out on the street. I think it makes it a little more entertaining. However, so in other words, I'm declaring that I was successful. This woman's text has not been contaminated, inserted with my own editorial. Her text ended up being pure with my comments at the beginning and the end. Ciao, ciao, ciao.